Assalamualaikum, Miss Anis.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Shakir.
Right, Miss Anis. So you can try screen. You got to share. And welcome to Mr. Dr. Chem as well as a speaker.
Okay, so I'll try to share, okay?
Sure, you can try. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
I just want to make sure that my presentation will be up. Okay, you can see my is my first slide being shown, the role of ITC in the development of Islamic tourism.
All right, nice.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anis.
All right.
Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning I bid to all. Welcome to our webinar for today. Before we start our ceremony today with Kita Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fatin Ain Christina binti Osman from Program of Arabic for International Communication for Kuliah of Languages and Management KLM, and today I will be your MC for this session. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome everyone on Halal and Muslim Friendly Industry 2023 webinar. It is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome everyone to this webinar, International Virtual Seminar on Halal Muslim Friendly Industry 2023, organized by Kuliah of Languages and Management KLM, International Institute for Halal Research and Training in Hart, and Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design KAED. We shall now start with the song of Negaraku and IIUM.
Let's lead the way, lighten the future, share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason, we shall excel, we shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we the Khalifa, we will fulfill the Amanah. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. IUM is to realize the meaning of Ramadan lil Alamin. Together we make
In order to get barakah and blessing for this event, I would like to invite Brother Ahmad Haikal to recite the dua. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, we gathered today to express gratitude upon your greatest gift towards us. In conjunction with this webinar, we ask for your help and guidance. Ya Allah, kindly give us strength and courage to face the struggle to find and gain knowledge. Kindly bestow blessing, physical and spiritual health, fitness of mind, peace of mind, and strength of spirit. Ya Allah, give us strength to our teachers and our leaders to continue to serve for people, society, nation, and religion. Ya Allah, make our country a country who receive the blessing and favor, everlasting peace, and prosperity of all time. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Brother Ahmad Haikal, for the recitation of the dua. Should you have any questions throughout the session, please type your question in the chat box and we'll answer question at the end of the sharing session. Alternatively, you may unmute yourself at the end of the session and ask away your question. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first, we are delighted to have Director of International Islamic University, Malaysia, Tan Sri Dr. Zulkifli Abdul Razak, to give his appreciating remarks. Please welcome Tan Sri.
The participants online and even in person. I don't know whether you have in person somewhere. But nevertheless, I would like to acknowledge distinguished speakers, Dr. Sim Tin Tin, Senior Researcher, Statistical, Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic countries. Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razif Haji Hassan, Director General Islamic Tourism Council Malaysia, Yang berusaha Profesor Ustaz Ishaq Ma, Chairman of International Muslim Tourism Department Association. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me first of all take this opportunity to welcome you to this international virtual seminar on halal and Muslim friendly industry, and also thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving this opportunity to meet online on a very important topic that I think all of us need to revisit given the pandemic, given whatever is going to happen beyond this with the world actually is not in a very good state. And therefore, to talk about tourism, to talk about a halal dimension, perhaps will give us a different spin as to what we need to consider today. Before that, I would like to congratulate the Kuliah of Languages and Management PAGO, the International Institute for Halal Research and Training in HAT, as well as the Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Development of the International Islamic University Malaysia, for organizing this very important and timely meeting in conjunction with the university's 40th anniversary, which is, I think, this year. The university is established in 1983. And certainly, I think when we do the university 40 years ago, this whole idea of tourism and halal perhaps is not part of the, or not the priority as far as moving the university forward. But now, after 40 years in existence, these are new areas that I think we need to consider, and consider it in the light of what is happening in the world today. And therefore, there are a number of salient points that I would like to address. Not in the conventional way. I know we have had this halal meetings, seminar, conferences often, but let me take this into another dimension when we talk about halal from the standpoint of a user, and how do I understand it, and maybe we can derive certain new thinking as to develop the halal concept itself. Yeah? While it is true that there are many Muslims around the world, while it is true that Muslims are very keen to have halal products and halal services around them, but I think the understanding of halal needs to go beyond just the concept of tourism itself. The tourism concept, if I'm not mistaken, is a concept that talks about basically about economic well-being. And many people will open their tourist venture because of quote unquote economy. I think the example that we see today under the COVID environment becomes a very important evidence. Given the context of COVID, everybody wants to open their borders very quickly because they think this will be an economic revenue for them. Even the dilemma that we're facing today with China having issues with COVID, many countries that is going to close their borders will have been reprimanded by China itself because they don't think this is a way to handle tourism and so on and so forth. So my thinking, the biasness on tourism and economy, while it is important at one point, but I think the concept of halal goes beyond just tourism, goes beyond just economy. I think halal should be seen as a concept of living, of a concept of well-being, rather than just economy, and about food, particularly in the context of Malaysia. We may have all this, but if it exposes to things that will, at the end of the day, bring a lot more problems in terms of health, in terms of security, in terms of well-being, then I think the idea of halal need to be questioned. Yeah? Therefore, when I look at tourism, and normally people will talk about tourism in dollars and cents, and then you will see, where this tourism is good because if I read the what do you call the report rightly, they say if we close our borders to Chinese tourism now, we tend to lose about how many billions of dollars. So everything else is equitable into just dollars and cents. But what about the other things that we cannot measure? And I think this is something that we need to think about. How do you actually go into something that is more subliminal as compared to just tangibles? Yeah? And I also understand some tourism come in, bring in the money, but cause a lot more damage as far as I can see. In terms of environment, in terms of culture, even in terms of values. I remember at one point, I will not mention the place, where the tourist comes into our country and start washing their clothing and hang it in front of the hotels, or hang it in front of the road, in fact. Yeah. So these are the kind of things that I think we need to be very critical about when we talk about tourism. It's not just dollars and cents, it's about the whole gamut of living. How do you actually bring this about? And Malaysia should be a place where we actually try to discipline this as far as tourism is concerned. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I try to compare my experience in Bhutan when I visited Bhutan some days ago. So this is one idea that I want to sort of throw in to the conference. If we can think about tourism just not about economics and then look at it from a holistic point of view. And the holistic point of view to me is basically to go into what we call in the context of sustainable development. I use the word sustainable development not because it is something perfect, but it's something that is easy for us to understand. When you talk about sustainable development now, we talk about more than just one variable. We talk about multiple variables, and these variables are interconnected with one another. And the interconnection that is very clear now is about economics, which is prosperity, which is fine, but it also talks about environment, and it also talks about people. Yeah, and these two things, people and environment, are often not the high point as far as tourism is concerned. And these are the ones that eventually will cause problem, because once the environment is damaged, once the people are not actually taken care, then I think we need to go back and make remedy of this. So whatever income that we get from tourism will be then plowed back to make amends of what has been missing. Now, this is where I want to share with you my experience when I visited Bhutan 2 years ago before the COVID. As you know, Bhutan is the only carbon negative country around the world. It's not a big country. It's not a prosperous country if you take United States or Europe as a comparison. Yeah, but yet Bhutan is the only country which is carbon negative. Now that says something about Bhutan, and that also says something about just economic dimension if you measure this, the wellness or the well-being of a country. Now, when I was invited to Bhutan, we have to get visa. And I think the visa cost quite a lot. If I'm not mistaken, that time it cost me $200 a day. Yeah, $200 a day, and I'm going to stay there for 5 days, and that will cost me at least 1,000 US just for visa alone. I think if you look at just that monetary point of view, you don't want to go to Bhutan. I mean, after all, what is there in Bhutan? You know, there's no skyscraper, there's no big shopping mall, there's nothing that we think about when we talk about tourism, right? But because I was invited, so I just make an amends and I go into Bhutan. Now, when I go to Bhutan, then suddenly I found that this 200 US dollars actually covers my hotel, covers my transportation, covers my food, covers all the places that I need to visit free of charge. And I asked them, why do you do this? It says, then we can control the kind of tourists that we want and the kind of places that they will stay. So the hotels that I stay in are the hostel which is already sustainable in its criteria as far as the government is concerned. The transportation that was given to me are the transportation that do not pollute. Yeah, the food that they give me is the food that they think it is sustainable. If you're a Muslim, they take care of your food as a Muslim at the same time. So in other words, their package of tourism is more than just giving you the liberty of doing whatever you want, but they also control not only your state of affairs, but also the numbers. Once the numbers are arrived, then they stop taking tourism into Bhutan because they want to preserve Bhutan the way it should be preserved. You know? And for example, Bhutan is a place where you cannot climb the Himalayas. If you want to climb the Himalayas, you go to Kathmandu, you go to Nepal. Nepal will make money out of climbing mountains, but Bhutan do not. And I asked them why. They say Bhutan, as far as Bhutan is concerned, mountain is sacred. From their religion, mountain is sacred, and therefore we will not allow people even to climb the mountains. They may not be a Muslim countries, but the way they understand tourism is guided by their own values. It is not the values that you want to bring into the country. Yeah? And as you go out of the hotel, if you go out of the airport, I saw one billboard that you will never see any of this in the world, I'm quite sure. And the billboard say this: no hurry, no worry. You know, in our airport, you will say hurry, 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 worry, worry, worry. And then you go into the first traffic jam. Yeah? And their speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour. right? And everybody drives very peacefully, and you can almost feel the peacefulness in Bhutan. You know, there is no rush, there is no argument. Even the dogs that I meet will not bark at you. Although I'm a foreigner, the dog will look at you and say, never mind, it's another foreigner, let me go and spend my life somewhere. You know, so I want to bring this whole concept of tourism. I think we need to change it from the Islamic dimension, if this is possible. And Bhutan may be an example for us who wants to visit and to understand what tourism is all about. It's not just about money making, it's also about living. And when you stay in Bhutan, they will bring you to the places that has a lot of values. So the temples are the places that they bring you. I don't know whether we will go in tourism and talk about to see our mosques and stuff like that. And the temples are very well looked after. It is not lintang pukang, you know, the way we see sometimes our mosques are not maintained, and we bring in tourism, tourists into it, we get embarrassed because the mosques are not even maintained. So these are issues that I think we need to think about when we talk about halal tourism. And the word halal, I think, needs to go beyond just understanding economic income, but how do you spread in values? How do you bring in a way of life that probably will be another alternative from people coming from a developed country that do not know what halal is all about from that particular context. Yeah. A second example that I want to share with you is I think the university are also quite active in training Japanese into what halal is all about and halal industry. And alhamdulillah, if you go to Japan now, it is very much easier to get a halal product. I remember when I stopped by in Kansai, I think, the airport, we can get halal food immediately, and sometimes there are also Malay wordings, tulis dalam bahasa Malaysia to guide us. But the experience I want to share with you is when we do one product with this Japanese people who are interested in halal. In fact, they've got what they call the Global Muslim Association, if I'm not mistaken, that caters for this. Now, one of the experience that we've got, we went to a place near Hokkaido when we talk about halal, and their halal is basically more halal than our halal. Well, let me explain what I mean. Yeah? All the utensils they use in this particular hotel are halal. In other words, the cup that you drink, you cannot drink alcohol in that cup. They don't serve that cup if you want to drink alcohol. You drink alcohol, there's another cup. All the utensils that they use for that particular restaurant has got a kind of a mark, a red dot. And this will be when they send it for washing, it will be automatically siphoned into a different washing sort of system that only deals with the halal quote unquote dishes, cups, forks and spoon and so on and so forth. They don't mix with the non-quote halal fork, dishes and spoons. I mean, so the Japanese has taken it one step further. You know, the Japanese have automated in such a way that their halal product is really halal in that point of view, and that is something I think that we are also now left behind. We teach the Japanese what halal is all about, and the Japanese has taken it one step forward. And I think Malaysia needs to take recognition of this if you want to do the lead. At the end of the day, otherwise the Japanese will say ours is more halal than the Malaysian halal, and this is another non-Muslim countries that's reinterpreted halal the way they want to interpret. So when you talk about technology, I think there is an element of technology here. This is the area that I think that we also need to think about. How do you move this halal understanding to a higher level using just technology rather than the way it is? I mean, some of the halal shop that I know from where I come from, Penang, they are halal, but they are the most dirty shop around the world. You know, I know of one case that this halal shop wash their dishes using the drain water. They were caught, and there was a report on this. So this whole idea of halal, it becomes a business that we need to redefine, re-understand it, and put it into practice the way it should be put into practice beyond just economic sort of understanding. But how does it influence life? How does it increase quality of life? How do you actually make life to be the way it should be in the context of what Islam wants us to be? So the value, the Islamic value is not something that we sacrifice. I make this comparison. I will stop after this. I'll make this comparison, for example, when they talk about Islamic finance. Yeah, non-Muslim love Islamic finance because they know the benefits from Islamic finance. But the question I ask myself, how do these non-Muslim love Islamic finance but do not love Islam? How can you love Islamic finance without loving Islam? I think there's a disconnect. So in other words, we are not able to influence them in the context of what Islamic value is all about. We are only looking at Islamic finance from the economic point of view, not the value that Islam brings in the Islamic finance. I think this is the two dichotomy that we need to bridge. This is the two dichotomy that we need to glue, so that when people love Islamic finance, at the same time they also love Islam, because that's where Islamic finance comes out. Islamic finance does not come out from the blue; it comes from Islam, the teaching of Islam. But you see, people love one; they love the product, but they don't love the source of where the product comes from. I think this will be the same thing for halal tourism if you don't put this right as far as understanding of halal is concerned. So I hope I make sense. I just want to be slightly different from the conventional way of understanding tourism. I'm not a tourist person, and therefore I have the liberty of saying what I think is right or wrong. You make the judge of it. If you think it makes sense, then maybe you want to consider this. Otherwise, you can just throw it in the dustbin. So let me end by congratulating you. I want to applaud your effort. But being a university, I think we need to be critical.
Bawa. Mudah. Oh, cek hari tu waktu MLP mana boleh cakap macam ni
Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. May God bless.
Thank you, Tan Sri, for the wonderful remarks. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome Ms. Anis Razalina Ramli, Senior Manager, Corporate Communications, Islamic Tourism Center, ITC Malaysia, Dr. Chan Tin, Senior Researcher, Statistical, Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries, SASRIC, Ustad Ishaq Mashauti, Chairman, International Muslim Tourism Industry Development Association. Without further ado, I would like to pass to our first session moderator, Sister Ain Khalid. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our viewers and honorable guests today. I would like to express my heartiest gratitude to everyone here and welcome to the roles of ITC in the development of Islamic tourism in Malaysia webinar today. My name is Ain Khalid, a student of the Department of English Language, Kuliah of Languages and Management, IIUM Pago campus, and I am the moderator for this first sharing session. Before we begin with our first speaker, here is a little bit introduction about her. Ms. Anis Rosalina Ismail has been involved in the tourism industry since 2003 across its diverse sectors, including leisure tourism, business events or MICE, and Islamic tourism. She has worked on a national tourism board in a business events trade publication based in Singapore and with several national and regional tourism trades associations. Her main focus has been on writing and content, as well as publications, journalism, PR, communications, and advertising. She holds a bachelor's degree in tourism from the University of Missouri, Columbia, USA, and currently heads of ITC corporate communication teams at Islamic Tourism Center, Malaysia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Ms. Anis Rosalina Ismail to start our first sharing session today. Ms. Anis, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and thank you to the moderator, Ms. Ain Khalid. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli bin Abdul Razak, Rector of International Islamic University Malaysia, distinguished speakers, members of the seminar, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizer for inviting Islamic Tourism Center to be part of this event. We're very honored to be to share the topic of presentation today. But before I get into that, I'd like to touch a little bit about what Tan Sri had mentioned in his opening address, which we at ITC totally agree that Muslim-friendly tourism or tourism in general should be looked at from a different perspective. It's not just about looking at tourist arrivals and tourist receipts anymore, but the whole tourism industry should look at other metrics as well, including, not just economic well-being, but also social well-being, cultural well-being, spiritual well-being, which is where, Islamic tourism and Muslim-friendly tourism can come in, because through the standards that we set here in Malaysia, we can create that example of being more than just an industry that looks at dollars and cents. So with that, I'd like to share my screen with my presentation. Please allow me a few seconds to get that on. All right. I'm wondering if this can be seen, the first slide. Can I get an audio agreement or something? Can my
Yes.
Yes, the slide looks great.
All right, thank you. So for today's presentation, I'm given 30 minutes, and this is the topic that I'll be presenting on, the role of ITC, which is Islamic Tourism Center, in the development of Islamic tourism in Malaysia. So I will be covering about 4 key topics. I'll introduce ITC, what we do, and I'll highlight some of the programs that we have been doing since our establishment in 2009. So since we don't have much time, I'll just focus on 3 key and unique events or programs that we implement to help the tourism industry stakeholders to embrace Muslim-friendly tourism in Malaysia. And after that, I'll conclude. So it's pretty short. And not to be talking too much, I'll be showing some videos as well. So please bear with me. All right, so first of all, I'll share with you a little bit about ITC. So our main tagline is enhancing ties, enriching knowledge. And all of our activities and programs are centered around this tagline, because at ITC, we want to collaborate, we want to partner, we want to work together and, share each other's knowledge and information so that with this knowledge and sharing, we can grow the Islamic tourism industry better. So Islamic Tourism Center is actually a government agency, and we're parked under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, along with 12 other, big agencies. ITC is among the smallest ones. The biggest, I'm sure you would know, is like Tourism Malaysia. So Tourism Malaysia is also an agency under MOTAC, and so is Islamic Tourism Center. So we champion Islamic tourism and help to build a well-developed Islamic tourism ecosystem in Malaysia so that we can better cater to the Muslim tourist market, and so that, industry players within the tourism industry and beyond can also participate in this industry and attract and benefit from this growing and influential market. So our core focus is on Islamic tourism, and there's no single definition for it, but this is the definition that ITC goes by in general. So with this definition, it's rather broad. Islamic tourism can be a tourism activity undertaken by Muslim or non-Muslims. It can be any activity or experience, so long as they do not go against Islamic principles. So this broad definition is not limited or limiting within this context. And going one step further, we acknowledge the huge potential of the Muslim tourist market, and we've developed the Muslim-friendly tourism and hospitality branding to encourage more of our tourism partners to use it so that they can clearly position and market themselves to the Muslim tourist market. So MFTH for short is a branding where tourists will instantly recognize and know that that particular country, that particular business, that particular attraction or tourism service can cater to the Muslim tourist needs. So we realized the big economic potential of the Muslim tourist market. And since ITC was established in 2009, we've been rolling out programs and activities to leverage on this market development. We wanted to let industry players know how they could participate within the space and attract the Muslim tourist market that they want. So how do we do it and what do we do? These are the 5 key roles that ITC has. The first one is research. So we conduct, together with academic institutions, we conduct studies and research to find out what are the opportunities or what are the gaps within the market that need to be addressed. So sometimes we do have some grants to give out. And with these grants, we are able to help selected researchers to conduct studies that they want. For example, the studies that we've supported included things like, a researcher wanted to explore what was the right or the appropriate terminology to use in this industry. Is it Sharia compliant? Is it halal tourism? Is it Muslim friendly? So the research went into trying to find that balance between attracting stakeholders into the industry, but at the same time, not to frighten away, other businesses with certain terminologies that might not be appropriate. There was also a research we did to study the future of cryptocurrency and its relevance in Islamic tourism. We also did a study on how to attract Turkish tourists to Malaysia. And since this event is also jointly organized with the Faculty of Architecture, I believe, I'd like to highlight that we even did a study with the researcher on the uniqueness of Islamic architecture in Malaysia. So the other role that we play is in standards and certification, because Muslim-friendly tourism is still, for some, it's still vague or it's still new. So ITC develops guidelines so that industry players know what they need to do in order to attract the Muslim tourist market. So, and then we also do training and capacity building. This is where we train up industry players with certain skills or certain knowledge so that they will be able to understand the market better and deliver the products and services that are needed to attract the Muslim tourists. An example is we have a signature training program, which is the Muslim-friendly tour guides training program. And I will explain about that later on in this presentation. Our industry development role is where we look at, what are the new opportunities to expand Islamic tourism and Muslim-friendly tourism in Malaysia. So definitely our stakeholders at the top of our mind are the hoteliers, the restaurants, the tourism product owners. These are the key stakeholders that we need to work with in order to attract more Muslim tourists. But at the same time, we look beyond that as well. For example, the spa industry, they're big in Malaysia and they've expressed an interest as well to be known as a Muslim-friendly tourism product. So we worked with the spa associations to help them identify the ways that they can do that. For example, segregated rooms, ensuring that female masseuse attend to female clients and things like that. But besides that, we also look at how shopping malls or theme parks and other tourism businesses can participate in the Islamic tourism industry as well. One of the unique things one of the unique audiences that we work with is the content creators as well. And we recognize that information about Muslim-friendly tourism may be lacking out there. And when you plan a holiday or a trip, this is one of the first things you want to look at. You want to look for information. So given that the gap is there, ITC has been working with some content creators and writers to ensure that they understand what kind of information is needed by Muslim tourists, so that this information can be put up on their social media, on their blogs, in their TV programs, in order to support Muslim tourists when they look for this kind of information for their holiday planning. And Tan Sri did mention about spiritual well-being and visiting temples in Bhutan. So in Malaysia, we also open up, the idea of Muslim-friendly tourism and hospitality to mosques. So given that, we have a lot of mosques in Malaysia, I think more than 6,000 mosques in Malaysia, we've approached some of the mosque management to seek, to share with them the potential of developing mosque tourism for themselves. And this is one of the examples of how we expand the industry to include, mosques as part of the attractions for Muslims to visit in Malaysia. And finally, information exchange. So similarly to IIUM, ITC also organizes seminars and conferences and symposiums. And through these platforms, we bring in thought leaders and innovative thinkers to give their perspective and insights into this topic. We recently organized the Islamic Tourism Social Media Marketing Seminar, and this was targeted at industry players such as tour guides and hoteliers, for them to learn about using social media to market their Muslim-friendly products. So for example, some hotels, they already have the they have already met the Muslim-friendly guidelines that ITC have set, but then they're not sure how to go about blaring this out to their audience. So we've invited them for this social media marketing seminar so that they have the tools and the knowledge to use social media to spread this news about themselves. Besides that, we also have publication platforms to share this information about Islamic tourism, and such as the Islamic Tourism Journal. And through this journal is where we publish the research that we have supported. We also have a quarterly magazine, which we started sometime last year. We call it Rest and Rehla. And it's a magazine that showcases the efforts of our tourism industry players who have put in, certain facilities or services or programs that benefit the Muslim tourists. Now let me share with you three highlights of our ITC programs. The programs that we've initiated here at ITC to help strengthen the Islamic tourism ecosystem and, most importantly, provide value and benefit to our stakeholders. The first program I'd like to share is the Muslim-Friendly Accommodation Recognition Program. So MFAR is a voluntary program that can be subscribed by hotels that have been registered under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. It is to encourage hotels to embrace the Muslim-friendly tourism and hospitality elements within their premises that reflect hygiene, cleanliness, good practices, safety, and even that reflect good human resource management. This program is supported by the Malaysian Association of Hotels, Malaysian Association of Hotel Owners, and Malaysia Budget Hotel Association. So in this, with MFAR, ITC helps to develop standards on how to operate a hotel or an accommodation according to some guidelines, taking into consideration the Muslim tourist needs. We also, under this program, we also help to provide marketing opportunities for the hotels that have met the MFAR standard. And it's also a way for us to promote these hotels as safe, clean, and responsible premises. So there are 3 categories of MFAR, which is silver. So silver hotels meet the basic needs of having a halal restaurant on site and prayer facilities. The gold category of MFAR meets the basic requirements of silver, but in addition, they may have additional values such as segregated facilities for men and women. They might have a separate area, a gym area for men, or a gym, for women, or they might have separate hours for different genders. And the highest category is platinum. So these are fully Sharia compliant hotels in Malaysia. So far we have recognized 51 local and international brand name hotels under MFAR. The international hotels are brand names like Movenpick, Pullman, Dorset, Hilton, Sofitel, while the local brand hotels include Sunway, Perdana, Mardia, The Pearl, Tamu Hotel, and Suites. So we've got 51, but we're planning to expand this number by accepting applications from other hotels and doing the proper auditing and review of their premises according to the MFAR standards that we have put in place. And moving forward, ITC is in the process of improving these guidelines, because we understand that sustainability is an important factor as well. A lot of tourists want to associate or want to stay in a hotel that takes care of the environment, or has the well-being of the staff being considered, and things like that. So these are the improvements that we will put in place with the updated guidelines that we plan to roll out very soon. So next, I'd like to talk about some of the values and outcomes that the hoteliers themselves have experienced. So we help them to market their hotels. The most recent is that we partnered with an online travel portal called TUI, which is a big travel agency group in Europe. And they have a special section for Muslim-friendly hotels where they list down all the MFAR hotels that are in Malaysia on that website. And as you can see from some of these headlines, the hoteliers themselves understand the value of being an MFAR hotel and the value of attracting Muslim tourist markets. And I'd like to share with you a recent example that I experienced. I was at Tamu Hotel and Suites recently, and the management truly understands that Muslim tourists, there are many categories, and there are also those Muslim tourists who want to experience the fine things in life. And they have sophisticated, preferences, some of them. And for that reason, Tamu Hotel has created a restaurant on their uppermost level. And this lounge serves, halal Wagyu beef for Muslims who want to experience these fine dining options. So these are the things that make ITC appreciate that our hoteliers, our stakeholders understand that the Muslim tourist market can offer them a lot of opportunities, once they understand how to meet these demands. And here I'd like to share with you, I think it's a 1-minute video of the MFAR program. So that was a short video about our M4 program, and you can see some of the hotels that have received the M4 recognition from us actually. Sorry. So how do I move to the next? All right, so the next program that I'd like to highlight to you is the Muslim-Friendly Tour Guide Program, or MFTG for short. So this is a training program created in 2017, and the purpose was to train and equip licensed tour guides with the knowledge and information on Muslim-friendly tourism and hospitality, as well as the requirements or the needs and demands of Muslim tourists. So, you know, I'm happy to share here today actually the MFTG program, because it was a collaborative effort between ITC and InHeart, you know, one of the co-organizers for today's webinar. And this training program was also supported by MOTEC from the very beginning. So as I said, it was established in 2017, and you know, some of the things that we shared during this program with the tour guides is that they understood what was halal concept, what was the Sharia concepts. They understood about Islamic tourism. We shared with them also things like how to communicate better. And we also included you know, modules where they learned about CPR and life-saving techniques. For example, how to save a choking victim, or how to use the defibrillator machine, you know, in emergencies. So these are some of the modules that we introduced to the tour guides, so that they would understand the Muslim tourist market and be able to communicate better with them, and also, you know, if you were to engage an MFTG right now, you'll be in good hands, inshallah. So currently, ITC has trained 131 MFTGs in Malaysia. Most of them, of course, is in KL and Selangor, about 52 of them. We also have 27 MFTGs in Sarawak. We have trained 27 MFTGs in Penang, 20 in Sabah, 3 in Malacca, 1 in Negeri Sembilan, and 1 in Perak. And inshallah, we will continue to expand this program so that we have more MFTGs in Malaysia, and they'll be able to, you know, bring in the Muslim tourist market and attend to their needs well. This is the logo for the MFTG, and they will wear this pin whenever they are doing their guiding. This is the MFTG label pin. And you know, some of the values or outcomes or benefits we've heard from these tour guides themselves is that they realize that they've unlocked a new market for them to cater to. From the feedback we receive, the tour guides feel more confident about guiding Muslim groups, and you know, they are able to even come up with specific itineraries for you know, Muslim groups to take them around Malaysia. They had their misconceptions about Islam clarified with better understanding about halal, about Sharia concepts, and you know, for ITC, we do prioritize working with MFTGs whenever possible for any of our programs. And here's a video that I'd like to share as well about the MFTG, the training that we conducted in Sarawak last year.
Can I just have some thoughts from the floor?
Maybe yesterday, I'm from airport, I want to go to Pullman. So how? By using Waze.
Ada hotel Muslim friendly, ada activity, inilah ni. The things, it's not halal.
kumpulan turis anak itu terdampar di tepi kapal.
Bye. Okay.
Apoy datang lagi.
If you check my feedback, it will be before is 1 and after is 5. If Islamic friendly, I think why not? Then so I think this is for more knowledge.
After being here, I think we understood. Not all, but at least something. Understanding. Terima kasih.
So I think it's very useful, very needy course. Kalau dapat bukan saja untuk tourist guide, semua orang Malaysia.
After going through this, it does enhance. I did learn. It quantifies that knowledge, and then it proved that yes, it can be done.
حي على الصلاة.
The training for MFTG ini open up our mind about the Muslim way of traveling, of products, or even as a whole of tourism.
We learn a lot, so because we know, we understand, I think me, like my other fellow guides, will be in a better position to welcome our Muslim visitors.
Okay, so that was the short video about our MFTG. And if you noticed, I mean, in general, a lot of non-Muslim tour guides were very interested to attend this workshop. This training, because they realize the potential of the Muslim tourist market, and in the process, they also learn about Islam and Muslims as travelers. And again, we hope to expand this training program to other states and get more Muslim-friendly tour guides in places like Kelantan, Terengganu, Johor, and so forth. So the final program of ITCs that I'd like to highlight is the Islamic Tourism Writers Workshop. So this has a special place in my heart because it was organized by my team in corporate communications. So this workshop was conducted specifically for writers and content creators to encourage them and equip them with the skills and knowledge to write about Muslim-friendly Malaysia in an engaging and attractive way. But the thing about this workshop was that we realized that we also wanted to nurture new content creators. So we did open up this workshop for students who were studying either tourism or journalism or Islamic tourism and so forth. So for the past two workshops that we conducted, we welcomed 2 students from USIM and 2 students from UITM. But inshallah, in future, we have more of these workshops this year. We'd love to hear from IIUM students or other students of other universities who would be interested to see how their tourism or Islamic tourism studies could also, open up a new career path in terms of writing for this industry. So this was a curated experience for writers and content creators. We created a 3-day, 2-night itinerary for these content creators, where they would experience, lectures and tips and talks from editors and experienced journalists about the writing craft, about how to engage audiences or readers with your writing, even about the potential of being a niche Islamic tourism writer or a niche writer catering or focusing on the Muslim tourist market. At the same time, we exposed these participants to various Muslim-friendly tourism products in Malaysia. For example, we visited Masjid Jamek Mosque. We did a Kuala Lumpur Heritage Walk with a Muslim-friendly tour guide. We visited galleries where they had collected Islamic tourism artifacts from around the world. We also brought participants to see architecture of old Islamic royal palaces, and even old Malay houses, and how the lifestyle of the Malays at that time was different from ours. And these kind of elements exposed the participants to the importance of cultural heritage, social well-being, and things like that. It was also an opportunity, this workshop, for participants to learn about what ITC does. And we shared with them statistics about the Muslim tourist market, the current trends of where this industry is headed. We also shared with them about the market potential and the outlook over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And we also shared with them about Islamic tourism and sustainability, because I think these two go hand in hand. I'm sure that some of the Islamic tourism students or Islamic students have learned about Maqasid Sharia and the value of protecting relations and lineage and things like that. We also gave participants an opportunity to network with the industry players. So during the program, they stayed in a Muslim-friendly hotel that was recognized by ITC. So they could experience for themselves what it was like to stay in a Muslim-friendly hotel, where they could see, there was a halal restaurant, there was the Muslim staff taking care of them, or there could be like certain facilities that were segregated for male and females. And at the end of the day, what we wanted was to create a new wave of writers and content creators who were, could call themselves subject matter experts on Islamic tourism or Muslim-friendly tourism. And this was a way for them to also expand their expertise, expand their knowledge, and open up themselves to new audiences. For some of the bloggers that we invited on this program, they had never really thought about the Muslim tourist market. So after they attended this program, some of them said that the feedback we got was that in their blog, they created a Muslim-friendly tab or a Muslim-friendly section within their website or blog, so that the information could easily be found. And that was really heartening for us to know, because it meant that our program had impacted them, and they realized that there could be a lot more content that they could write on in terms of Muslim-friendly tourism. Another value that we found, or another outcome that we found from some of the participants, was that they realized that, there was a Bernama reporter. She realized that, hey, this could be a niche career for me moving forward, to be an expert writer or a specialist writer on the Muslim tourist market. And for another participant, they managed to collaborate with one of our M4 hotels to create content for their in-house television TV program. So Tamu Hotel and Suites, I believe, was the one that wanted to work with one of our content creators, so that there could be more Islamic tourism content in their hotel room TVs. So these are some of the outcomes from the program that we received, and it kind of gives us the motivation to continue doing this. I have a video of this as well. It's a little bit long. I'm not sure if we have enough time. Moderator, do we have? It's about 7 minutes, and then it's my last slide.
Yes, it is enough, Miss Anis.
Okay, all right. So I'll show this 7-minute video, and then I'll conclude with my last slide. All right, so enjoy this video. This is the video that we made for the Islamic Tourism Writers Workshop, where the participants visited Nashul Quran, the second largest Quran printing facility in the world. We visited Janda Baik, where there was a gallery with Islamic tourism artifacts. And we did a heritage walk around Kampung Baru. So please enjoy the video.
Kami akan merasa satu pengalaman yang sangat menakjubkan hari ini.
Ya, yang Vigo tu ada. Tanda baik.
Tanda baik.
Okay, joining this program gives me the opportunity to see new places and learn new things, some which is beneficial for me so that I can add on to my blog and what I do.
One of the things yang I find that is quite interesting is for them to tapping into Muslim-friendly market. Itu adalah satu benda baru yang saya pun baru belajar, dan I think itu pun menjadi satu niche untuk saya starting my writing career as a reporter.
Kami datang ke sini, ke taman ini, ke resort ini, dan di sini kami dapat melihat banyak artifak lama, barang-barang lama. Resort di dekor dengan sangat cantik, bercirikan Islamik.
Salah satu daripada yang saya sangat tertarik adalah adab. Adab menyambut tetamu, adab bercakap dengan tetamu, itulah salah satu daripada Muslim friendly yang ditengahkan.
Our hope is that from this workshop, they will be able to create more positive narratives about Islamic tourism and also engaging storytelling that will interest the Muslim tourist market to experience Muslim-friendly Malaysia. Thank you.
Muslim-friendly Malaysia!
Okay, so that was the final video and I'm down to my last slide here. So, why is ITC doing all of this? You've seen 3 of our key signature events or programs that we roll out for different target audiences. It's an opportunity to expand and tap into a big market. The outlook for 2028 is here. It's expected or forecasted that there will be 230 million Muslim arrivals by the year 2028. And how much are they spending? $225 billion US. What are they spending on? They're spending on hotel stays, airfares, food, shopping, transportation, hotel packages, entertainment, Muslim-friendly entertainment, and things like that. And when they are making their holiday plans, one of the first things they'll do is search for information, where to go, what to eat, things to do, and they want to read travel books, or they want to do online searches on websites, on blogs, using keywords like Muslim friendly, halal food, halal tourism, and they'll be looking for, all these places to stay and places to visit, and they'll want a guide, a Muslim friendly tour guide that can understand their needs, as they travel. So these are all the opportunities that arise. And for Islamic Tourism Center, going back to what Tan Sri mentioned this morning about expanding the concept of tourism, and this is where ITC and those in the industry can actually set that kind of standard, and Malaysia can be that example for a tourist destination that doesn't just look at dollars and cents, but also takes into consideration the well-being of the people in the industry, the well-being of the community where that tourist attraction is at. So these are opportunities as well for us to create a far more impactful industry. And I just want to have one last slide here about the Muslim tourist market. The argument for it is that it's a geographically dispersed market. Muslim tourists are not only in the Middle East. In ASEAN alone, there's 255 million Muslims in ASEAN. Imagine, the number of people that you could attract within the region itself. And this dispersion of the Muslim tourist market is also a protection for the industry, because should something bad happen in one country where you've put all your eggs in that basket, if something happens to that country, then you still have, you know, other Muslim tourists from other destinations to cater to. So with that, I've come to the end of my slide, and I thank you so much for your attention. Thank you to IIUM, the organizers, the Faculty of Languages, Faculty of Architecture, and InHeart for inviting Islamic Tourism Center to be, you know, to share what we have with you today. And, you know, if any of these programs touched you or impacted you in any way and you'd like to work with us, please reach out to us at this email address. So with that, thank you once again. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, and thank you so much, Ms. Anis, for the wonderful presentation. For everyone's information, Ms. Anis is here to represent Datuk Dr. Muhammad Razib Hassan, who is unfortunately unable to be here this morning. So I have a few questions for Ms. Anis because we don't want this webinar to become like a one-way communication. So I'm pretty sure as a moderator, I do have questions. So my first question for Ms. Anis is that ITC conduct several workshops, and there are also workshop creates for students. So how do students, especially tourism students, they enroll into that workshop to gain more insight into Muslim-friendly tourism?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ain. So yes, as I mentioned, one of the workshops that we offer to students is the Islamic Tourism Writers Workshop, and that is open to any university students, preferably those who are studying tourism or studying Islamic knowledge or journalism, communications. So we do have very limited slots in each of our workshops for students who are in that line, because the reason why we want to open this up to students is because we want to open up their career opportunities. You know, if you're studying maybe tourism, you might naturally think that you'll end up working with the National Tourism Board or a hotel, but not necessarily so. If you have an interest in writing, in content creation, this workshop will open up your eyes to that, because, you know, we will share with you. We have speakers from experienced journalists and editors who will share with you how to create content for the Muslim tourist market. What are the target audience or sub-target audiences within the huge Muslim tourist market? Because there's a lot of sub-audiences. For example, in the Muslim tourist market, you can have content for Muslim women only, or you can have content for families, Muslims traveling with families, or you can have content for Muslim business travelers. So these are different target audiences that you could niche in. And if you are interested, please reach out to that email address, itc@itc.gov.my. And should we have additional writers workshops this year, we will announce that and open up that spot.
Okay, so one last question from me. Globally, there are Muslim everywhere, and in Malaysia, majority of Malaysians are Muslim. But however, some are still unaware of this Muslim-friendly tourism, as what you have presented. The numbers are not wholly covered. For they think that everything is halal, even though in Malaysia. So how is Muslim-friendly tourism reshaping the local tourism industry in Malaysia? And we're talking before and after the pandemic itself.
Yeah, I'll try to answer that question. Actually, like you said, Ms. Ain, it's that Malaysia is already known as a halal destination or Muslim-friendly destination, but that doesn't mean that we cannot, have certain standards in place, because we are seen as an example by other countries. And when we set those standards, for example, when we set the standards of how a hotel should be in order to cater to Muslim tourists, then this is an example that other destinations can follow as well. So for me, it's like, it doesn't matter that Malaysia is already so widespread in terms of its halal food and majority Muslim population, but we need to have that integrity. We need to have that standard out there to ensure international tourists as well as local tourists, that we have these standards in place. I mean, imagine if we did not have these standards in place, and then people would be questioning us, and that would put us in a different bowl of hot soup.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anis, for answering my questions. So I hope from Ms. Anis' sharing session, our viewers and our honorable guests will gain some insight about the development of Islamic tourism in Malaysia. We are so glad, Ms. Anis, you could be here today to share your insight, and thank you so much for it. However, that's the end of our first sharing session for today's webinar. I will take my leave now, and I would like to invite Sister Farah Suhana, the moderator, for the next session. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
All right. I hope everyone can see me and hear me clearly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farah Suhana Sofia from the program of English for International Communication, and I will be the moderator for the second session for today's International Virtual Seminar on Halal and Muslim-Friendly Tourism 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome our second speaker for today, Dr. Kem Tintin. But before that, I would love to give some introduction about Dr. Tintin. So, Dr. Tintin is a trained senior economist with a master's degree in economics with distinction from Lund University, Sweden. Am I stuck? So sorry. I think I'm stuck. I'm so sorry about that. So let me introduce Dr. Tintin again. Dr. Kem Tintin is a trained senior economist with a master's degree in economics with distinction from Lund University, Sweden, and a PhD degree in economics from University of Brussels in Belgium. Dr. Tintin worked with CESRIC, Statistical, Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries, as a senior researcher between 2013 and 2023. Prior to joining CESRIC, he worked for 3 years at the Institute of European Studies in Brussels as a researcher on the economies of European Union countries. Dr. Tintin has more than 13 years hands-on experience on international economics and development studies gained at intergovernmental and regional institutions. He is the author of 2 books on international macroeconomics and published several scholarly and non-scholarly articles on international development issues with a particular focus on developing countries, including Islamic countries. His recent research agenda focuses on halal markets and economies of Islamic countries, particularly in the member countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. Dr. Tintin served in a number of international expert teams that drafted regional level strategy documents such as Strategic Roadmap for the Development of Islamic Tourism in OIC member states. Dr. Tintin presented his papers and research work at several prominent international conferences, such as in Brussels, Paris, Nairobi, Geneva, Casablanca, Conakry, and Copenhagen. He designed and delivered several training programs on halal tourism in various countries like Uzbekistan, Turkey, and Suriname. Besides, Dr. Tintin has been coordinating the preparation of the regular flagship report CESRIC titled International Tourism in the OIC countries. Today, Dr. Tintin will be sharing about intra-OIC tourism, the way forward. We are so glad you could be here today to share your insights on this topic. The floor is now yours, Doctor.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good morning from Turkey. I'm very glad to be part of this seminar, and I would like to start my presentation by thanking the moderator for giving me the floor, and also the kind invitation extended to CESRIC and to myself from the Islamic University, International Islamic University of Malaysia. And also my warm thanks goes to Dr. Shakir and Dr. Hashim of the Islamic University of Malaysia for facilitating my participation to this important seminar. I would like to also greet all of the viewers and honorable guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you can see my screen. Now I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation with you. I hope it is clear for you. So I would like to talk about the Muslim-friendly tourism in OIC countries, and specifically I would like to highlight the intra-OIC tourism cooperation and the way forward in my presentation today. In my presentation, I have 5 main parts in my presentation. Given the time limitations, I will first introduce what the OIC and the OIC countries are doing in the domain of tourism, and I also would like to talk a little bit about some statistical facts about the international tourism in the OIC countries. And of course, one of the main core objectives of this session is to introduce you the intra-OIC tourism cooperation, and I will talk a little bit about the efforts of the OIC and its institutions, how to enhance the intra-OIC tourism cooperation. And also, since we are talking about the Muslim-friendly tourism, one of the parts of my session will devote it to the Muslim-friendly tourism and its potentials in the OIC countries. The final part of my presentation will be about the policy implications. Let's start the presentation by showing the map of the OIC member states, because sometimes it is also good to start the presentation by showing the potentials of the member states. We have 57 member states, which are distributed to the 4 continents. Even in Latin America, we have 2 member states, namely Suriname and Guyana. And these countries represented about 1/4 of the world population. And they have different climate, different culture, and different heritage, so which are all important for the enhancement of international tourism activities, including the Muslim-friendly tourism. Also, international tourism is not only an economic activity, but also it has a lot of dimensions, as mentioned in the opening speech of the rector. Like it is also helping sustainability efforts, cultural preservation. Even according to some studies, it helps to build up peace and security around the globe. So therefore, tourism is beyond just some economic activities. It has a lot of dimensions, and especially when it comes to the Muslim-friendly tourism, since it has a special focus on Muslim-friendly activities and special emphasis on the halal issues, it has a lot of contributions to the cultural harmony and also the activities in the domain of cooperation among the member states of the OIC, as well as it is also one way of to know about each other, the societies living in other Islamic countries as well. So let's share a couple of statistics with you about the summarizing statistics about the international tourism in the OIC countries. And I also would like to inform you that most of these statistics are available in 2 recent reports of CESRIC, which is halal industry in OIC member countries. The other study is international tourism in the OIC countries. Both of these reports are available on the webpage of CESRIC, which you can download and you can check them after this seminar. The webpage of CESRIC is www.cesric.org. So you can check the reports on this webpage. Let's look at the international tourist arrivals in the OIC countries. That was a positive trend over the period 2017 and 2019. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which started in 2020, there was a sharp decline. According to the estimates, there was around 73% decline as compared to 2019 in 2020 in terms of international tourist arrivals in the OIC countries. And also we see a similar picture when it comes to the international tourism receipts in the OIC countries. There was around 64% decline in 2020 as compared with the 2019. So therefore, the COVID-19 outbreak has impacted the international tourism receipts as well as international tourist arrivals in the OIC region, which is also indicated in this slide. So that you will see the magnitude of the impact, so which is significant. And why I'm showing this slides to you, because it has impacted negatively the positive trend, but also it has also brought additional perspectives and understanding to the policymakers in the OIC region how to combat with this pandemic or the crisis, and also how to recover from the crisis. And one of the ways of recovery is also investing in different niche tourism markets. And one of these, let's say, promising niche market is Muslim-friendly tourism in the OIC region, because the OIC countries has a lot of enabling environment for the development of Muslim-friendly tourism, given their higher share of Muslim population and also halal-friendly environments. I also would like to share with you that the total contribution of tourism to the economies of OIC countries is significant. On average, on the left-hand side, you see that the total contribution of tourism to employment in OIC countries was around 7.5% in 2019, and due to the pandemic in 2020, it went down to 6.2%. And also in a similar way, what we see here, that the total contribution of tourism to GDP of the OIC countries was around 8.1% in 2019, which declined to 4.3% in 2020. I also would like to emphasize here that even before the pandemic, as you see here, that the OIC countries on average couldn't really benefit from the potentials of the international tourism as compared with the world. So there was a gap even before the pandemic, and therefore there is a way forward that OIC countries could address this gap and increase the contribution of tourism to GDP or the contribution of tourism to employment through developing some new policies and initiatives, and also developing the Muslim-friendly tourism activities. And one of the ways of enhancing Muslim-friendly tourism activities in the OIC region is to enhancing the intra-OIC tourism cooperation. And in upcoming slides, I will talk a little bit more about how to enhance intra-OIC tourism cooperation in the OIC region. In summary, the COVID-19 pandemic has, as I just explained, impacted the tourism figures in a significant way, such as, according to our estimations, around 8.6 million workers in the tourism sector lost their jobs. And let's say around 293 billion USD dollars were lost due to the pandemic in the OIC region in 2020. So in this part of my presentation, I would like to talk a little bit about the intra-OIC tourism cooperation, which is one of the main focus of this presentation. In this part of the presentation, first I would like to introduce what is intra-OIC tourism activities, because some of the perhaps the guests may not fully aware what does it refer. So intra-OIC tourism means that the tourism activities among the member states of the OIC. And in this picture, the most important component is the origin and the origin country, and the final destination should be a member of the OIC. And let's make a practical example. If a visitor from Kuala Lumpur comes to Turkey, Istanbul, it is considered as an international tourism activity on the first hand. And secondly, it is also registered according to our understanding and classification system as an intra-OIC tourism activity, because both Turkey and Malaysia are members of the OIC. So this is just to make it clear for the viewers. And in this picture, I put this bridge, which is King Fahd Causeway, which is between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, and it is one of the main, let's say, main enabler of the intra-OIC tourism activity, because it is connecting two countries which are also members of the OIC. And of course, this is not limited only with this kind of physical infrastructure. As I said, just if you have a good connecting flight between two different OIC countries, it is also one way of enhancing the intra-OIC tourism activities. And also, it is not just limited with the transportation activities, such as if you can develop some visa policies that are facilitating tourism activities among the member states, then it is also another way of enhancing the intra-OIC tourism activities. If you look at some recent figures on intra-OIC tourism activities, what we see is that there was a positive trajectory before the outbreak of pandemic in 2020, which the intra-OIC tourist arrivals hit around 104 million arrivals. And in terms of receipts, just before the pandemic, international intra-OIC tourism activities generated around 76 billion USD in 2019. Also, I would like to say that during the COVID-19, or since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, various OIC countries has developed some policies and initiatives to recover from the pandemic and to address the negative impacts of the pandemic, in order to first to increase international tourism activities, but also to facilitate intra-OIC tourism activities as well. And some of these examples are discussed in details in our International Tourism Report 2020-2022 edition, which is available on the webpage of SESRIC. So because of the time limitation, I cannot go into details of these programs, but just I want to read them out for yourself. Like Azerbaijan has introduced the Sahman program, and Palestine Tourism Authority started the Palestine Tourism Recovery Task Force, which is responsible for the recovery efforts and also the coordination issue. And also Turkey has developed Safe Tourism Certification Program in order to ensure the safety and hygiene of the tourists, international tourists who are willing to come to Turkey. And also Qatar has initiated the Qatar Clean program. And finally, Bahrain Tourism Authority has kicked off the crisis management action plan in order to support the recovery efforts in international tourism, and also which is contributing to the intra-OIC tourism activities. There are so many challenges which are affecting the intra-OIC tourism cooperation, which are discussed in details in our reports, but I want to summarize them because sometimes these summaries could help to understand to the magnitude of the challenges and also the diversity in these challenges. First of all, the non-targeted tourism marketing policies and weak know-how about the tourism potentials of the OIC countries emerge as an important challenge. Secondly, high cost of transportation is another challenge that is also affecting the intra-OIC tourism activities in a negative way. And also, thirdly, the distribution of the member countries in 4 continents and the existing physical distances. On the one hand, it is an advantage because, as I explained at the beginning of my presentation, the countries have different climatic zones, different time zones, and even different cultural and heritage backgrounds. However, sometimes this is also affecting the transportation costs and the time, and due to the physical distances, intra-OIC cooperation has been affected negatively. And also another point which I would like to highlight here is the existing visa regimes of the member countries. Sometimes there are some really easy visa rules among some member countries, but also for some specific countries, we have some tight visa regimes. So therefore, this issue should be always on the table as a major challenge, how to ease the visa issue and also address, let's say, the existing visa regime with a view to enhancing the intra-OIC cooperation. Another challenge is the non-unified standards and certificates, especially when it comes to the halal standards. So especially in the domain of halal food, we have, let's say, some standards which are available in different OIC countries. But when it comes to the especially Muslim-friendly tourism or halal tourism, unfortunately, not so many OIC countries has developed their halal tourism or Muslim-friendly tourism standards. So only a few of them have these standards. And another issue is that there are also different views and understandings in these Muslim-friendly tourism standards available in some of the OIC countries. So therefore, it is emerging as another challenge because it is confusing the potential visitors or Muslim travelers who are willing to visit another OIC destination. And the final challenge that I would like to say a few words is about the lack of diversification in tourism activities and also underutilization of some tourism activities which have high potential like ecotourism and Muslim-friendly tourism. So in some of the member states, unfortunately, even there is very limited knowledge about the potentials of the Muslim-friendly tourism, and it is a potential role to transform the entire tourism industry. So especially among the policymakers. So therefore, these are some of the areas that we need to build up some additional awareness and also knowledge. And I think the universities and specific institutions like ITC or INHART could play an instrumental role to share knowledge and also to raise awareness on the importance and potentials of Muslim-friendly tourism activities, including not only including Malaysia, but also in the entire Islamic world. So in this part of presentation, I would like to talk a little bit about the Muslim-friendly tourism. Since this is not a training session, I cannot go into very details, but just I want to share a few words about the Muslim-friendly tourism basics, because maybe some of the viewers don't have this background. So just to make an introduction to this, that as you know that over the last 2 decades, demand for Sharia compliant products and services increased significantly all across the globe. And especially within this context, halal hotels, halal food premises, and halal tour packages, and also halal transport services started to emerge, and which all became the main components of the Muslim-friendly tourism or Islamic tourism. And also in here, I would like to highlight that maybe you paid attention that sometimes I'm using halal tourism, sometimes Muslim-friendly tourism. Unfortunately, even there is no consensus on this terminology across scholars and even across the member states. Some of them are using Sharia tourism, some of them using Islamic tourism, and even some of them does not refer to any, let's say, religious term, such as some of them prefer using the term of ziyarah tourism, like in the case of Uzbekistan. So therefore, there are different views and understandings, but what I would like to highlight is that all these terms, in fact, refer to the same type of tourism activity, which is tourism activities paying attention to the needs and demands of the Muslim traveler. So if you look at the Muslim-friendly tourism basics, we also see that the MFT market has witnessed rapid growth over the years, and it has emerged as one of the fastest growing segments of the global tourism market. and its growth rate has been consistently found to be higher than the conventional tourism market. So these facts are important, especially for policymakers, because this could convince them why the countries should develop more coherent policies to develop the Muslim-friendly tourism. And also, according to one study, the Muslim-friendly tourism activities, the profit margin is around more than 30% as compared with the conventional tourism activities, because you have some developed specific and unique products and services in the domain of tourism, especially to cater to the needs of specific travelers. So therefore, according to this study, the companies could charge higher to the Muslim travelers or travelers who are interested in Muslim-friendly tourism. So therefore, their profit margins are significantly higher than the conventional tourism market. So it is also important to pay attention to this line, which is highlighting that the Muslim-friendly tourism activities are not only attractive for Muslim tourists, but also they are attractive for non-Muslim tourists who are seeking for health-conscious lifestyle or paying attention to the sustainability dimension, or they just want to have a comfortable and very good tourism experience. For instance, one of the I watched one video about one hotel which is located in Antalya, Turkey, and there was a Russian tourist. She was not a Muslim. She was asked why you prefer staying in this Muslim-friendly tourism hotel, and she was saying that because I don't see any drunken person around, and also no one is shouting in the middle of night in the hotel. So therefore, as a lady, I really feel comfortable to swim in this kind of pool and in this coast. What I'm trying to say is that maybe there are different motivations for different people to stay in Muslim-friendly tourist hotels. As I said, both Muslims and non-Muslims prefer staying in this kind of hotels, depending on their motivation. As I just explained that, unfortunately, there is, let's say, diverse halal tourist standards across the OIC countries. And here just I'm showing some examples from Turkey, from Malaysia, and from Indonesia. So there are different kind of sensitivities and different type of, let's say, specificities of these halal and or Muslim-friendly tourism standards. In order to address this gap, one of the OIC institutions, which is called Standard and Metrology Institute for Islamic Countries, which is based in Istanbul, Turkey, has developed in 2019 a standard, which is the OIC CIMIC Standard 9/2019, which is hopefully to serve as a kind of common Muslim-friendly tourism standard for all Islamic countries. And the development of this standard is, let's say, a leap forward, because it is, let's say, after a long time, one of the, let's say, reflecting a common understanding among the member states. And of course, the implementation of this standard is not compulsory, it is just voluntary basis. But at least now we have a reference document at the OIC level when it comes to the Muslim-friendly tourism services. I also would like to share a couple of statistics with you about the performance of the OIC group, especially in terms of Muslim-friendly tourism market. According to the Global Muslim Travel Index, the OIC group has a comparative advantage when it is compared with some other developing countries and also the developed countries. As you see here, the group average of the OIC is 55.8, and which is significantly higher than the average of other countries, and which is very good news for the OIC member countries, because it is reflecting that the OIC countries has a comparative advantage, and with some basic investments and some, let's say, with little improvements in their services, they can really emerge as some important destinations in the Muslim-friendly tourism market. And especially if you look at the performance of the individual OIC countries, in this picture, each dot represents one OIC country, and these red dots represent the average of the OIC. As you see, we have a really diverse picture. Some of the member countries like Malaysia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, and United Arab Emirates are leading the OIC leading member states in the OIC region when it comes to the Global Muslim Travel Index. And unfortunately, we have some OIC countries, especially located in the Sub-Saharan Africa and Latin America, like Suriname, Togo, Benin, Mozambique, and Uganda. They obtained low scores in the Global Muslim Travel Index, and these countries have a long way to go to reach the level of these leading countries. And this is where the intra-OIC cooperation comes in, because if we can facilitate the share of knowledge and experience among these countries, the leading countries, and these countries which have a long way to reach to the level of these countries, I think this is where the intra-OIC tourism cooperation really could play an instrumental role. So therefore, in fact, we see this picture not as a negative picture. It is a picture which could enable and facilitate the intra-OIC cooperation. And the OIC and its institutions are playing an extensive role to facilitate this share of knowledge and matching these countries to share their knowledge between the leading countries and these countries. So I think in this slide, I also would like to share with you a couple of statistics regarding the global picture on Islamic or Muslim-friendly tourism, especially in terms of arrivals. In 2019, it reached as 160 million, and in 2020, because of the pandemic, it went down to 42 million. If you look at the estimated market size of the Muslim-friendly tourism in the OIC region, what we see is that before the pandemic, it has reached around 153 billion USD dollars. And the global Muslim-friendly tourism market size was around 194 billion USD dollars. As you see that according to estimations, there will be a significant recovery by next year, and the tourism
I'm so sorry, doctor. I think you are stuck.
They should try to or attempt to get a higher share from this picture. And also, I would like to share with you the impacts of the COVID-19 on halal industry, because if you look at this picture, it provides a comparative perspective, such as we didn't see even a negative impact of the COVID-19 on Islamic finance. However, the halal food industry saw a very slight or little negative impact, and also the Islamic lifestyle market as well. So these are the negative growth rates, not the positive ones. So therefore, it is reflecting the decline. So if you look at or focus on the Islamic tourism market, the decline was around 70%. So because the COVID-19 mainly hit the tourism activities because of the international travel restrictions. So therefore, the prospects was really not good during the pandemic. And if you look at the halal industry and the growth projections, both before and after pandemic. If you see that before the pandemic, there was a projection that the growth rate was estimated or projected to be 6.2%. And after the pandemic, now the new projections reflect that its growth rate should be around 3.1%. In this regard, I think the policymakers also need to focus on some policies how to recover from the pandemic, and also try to address the negative impacts of the pandemic on Muslim-friendly tourism. So in this slide, I would like to also share with you some of the ways of enhancing inter-OIC tourism cooperation, because as I just explained in the previous slides, the importance of the inter-OIC tourism activities on improving the international tourism activities in the OIC region. Inter-OIC tourism activities could help the member states, such as through transfer of knowledge, transfer of good practices, and also capacity building programs and policy development. So therefore, inter-OIC cooperation does not only refer only one dimension or one aspect. It has a lot of dimensions, such as I just explained, the capacity building program. I can give you one example from my institution, which is CESRIC. CESRIC is organizing several capacity building programs on Muslim-friendly tourism activities, and we are trying to match the best performer countries, like how we can transfer the experience of Malaysia to Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia. So we invite experts from the Malaysia, especially from Islamic Tourism Center of Malaysia, and also organize a training session in Kyrgyzstan for the authorities and the Ministry of Tourism of Kyrgyzstan, how they can kick off the Muslim-friendly tourism activities and develop a policy framework for these tourism activities. So this is just, I mean, I'm not talking about only about a theoretical point of view. I'm just giving some practical examples. Just I want to also highlight that these type of activities have been already taking place. They are on the ground. So therefore, don't think that these are just some theoretical considerations. In fact, various OIC institutions have been doing a lot of activities and exerting efforts to enhance the inter-OIC tourism cooperation and also develop capacities in the domain of Muslim-friendly tourism in the OIC region. And also, there are different modalities and different type of activities taken by various OIC institutions to enhance inter-OIC tourism cooperation. In this slide, just I can show you some of them, like the OIC COMSEC Private Sector Tourism Forum, which takes place every year on one specific topic, including Muslim-friendly tourism as well. And also, as CESRIC, we publish regularly international tourism report of the OIC. ICDT, which is the Islamic Center for Development of Trade, which is based in Casablanca, Morocco, has its own tourism development program to contribute to the capacity building efforts of the OIC countries. CESRIC has its own tourism capacity building program, and also Standards and Metrology Institute for Islamic countries, as I explained in my previous slides, has developed the Halal standards, OIC CIMIC standards, and the final strategic roadmap for the development of Islamic tourism in OIC member countries, which is the strategic document of the OIC in the domain of Islamic tourism or Halal tourism, which is proposing a strategic direction to be taken with an action plan to develop and promote Islamic tourism in OIC member countries, which was adopted in 2019 in Bangladesh, Dhaka, during the Ministerial Conference on Islamic Tourism of Islamic Tourism Ministers of the OIC, which is the highest level fora in the OIC in the OIC framework when it comes to the tourism issues. And in this strategic roadmap document, there are 5 main dimensions on data and monitoring, policy regulation, marketing and promotion, destination and industry development, and capacity development. It can be used by the countries as a guidebook. if they would like to develop their capacities on Muslim-friendly tourism. It is, as I said, not a compulsory document for the member states, just a guiding document for the member states in the domain of Islamic tourism. And the final part of my presentation is about the policy implications and the way forward. The most recent edition of the Islamic Conference of Tourism Ministers took place in June in Baku, Azerbaijan. And in this ministerial conference, there were some discussions and resolutions on how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the member states and how the member countries could address these negative impacts, and how the countries could support the recovery efforts in the tourism sector, including investing in the niche tourism markets. And one of these niche markets key for the OIC countries is the Muslim-friendly tourism. And in this regard, I also would like to share a couple of policy implications just for your consideration. And I think the number one is the virus containment efforts should continue, and the declaring the end of the crisis, the pandemic, is very important. Just a few days ago, Saudi Arabia announced that in 2023, they will resume the Hajj activities as before the pandemic. So this is very important development, because it will be the 2023 will be the first year that Saudi Arabia will not ask for any documentation of vaccination, such as for the Hajj visit from the Hajj visitors, and they will accept the very high number of Hajj visitors from the OIC countries, which is also one way of enhancing the intra-OIC tourism activities. And also restoring the confidence is very important, because we are in challenging times when it comes to the international travel. So therefore, there is a need for marketing strategy. And also supporting tourism stakeholders is very important, and diversifying the tourism activities, even in the Muslim-friendly tourism activities, is one way of improving the tourism receipts from the Muslim-friendly tourism activities, such as you can develop health tourism, which is in line with the Muslim-friendly tourism principles. So therefore, it is really a way forward. So it is not just by coincidence. For instance, Turkey could attract a lot of visitors from different Islamic countries for their medical operations, because they can get a high or good quality of health services, but also they can enjoy halal food in the hospital, and they can have a prayer room, etc. So therefore, we also need to think a little bit beyond just simply a tourism type of coast or sun and sand beach type of tourism activities. So also visa issues, I don't want to go back. Enhancing connectivity and also ensuring safety and security is very important. Diversification of Muslim-friendly tourism source markets and segments are also very important, because you need to also create a plan whether you are willing to attract some type of tourists who are interested in luxury tourism services, or just with basic essential services, or you are interested in tourists who are interested in cosmetic services or wellness type of services. So therefore, it is also very important to understand for the policymakers while they are developing their marketing and promotion strategies. And also attracting investment is very important for the Muslim-friendly tourism to unlock the potentials, because it is the tourism activities are always driven by the private sector, and investment is key for the growth of the industry. And the final slide is about the intra-OIC cooperation level activities or the policy implications, that we need to really understand that issues of certification is very important, and also we need to also try to encourage member states to understand and recognize their issue certificates in Muslim-friendly tourism services, and sharing the best practices and lessons learned, especially during the pandemic and beyond the pandemic, are very important. because during these difficult times, the countries learned a lot to cope with some challenges. So therefore, I think we need to pay attention to this dimension as well. Also, developing some type of MFT network is very important among different airlines, institutions, or even the education institutions as well in the OIC region. And finally, providing incentives for airlines and tour operators are key, especially those are located in the OIC region. So with this, I would like to thank you for your kind attention, for listening me. And I would like to give back the floor to Ms. Moderator, Ms. Farah. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tintin, for the insightful sharing session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from Dr. Tintin himself that although there are some struggles, especially the negative impacts and losses that OIC members states have to face for international tourism, there are great potential, benefits, and profits if suitable policies are implemented and cooperation between intra-OIC countries are being held. I realized that although geographical distance are one of the strengths because we can visit all the different countries from all of the continents, it is also a struggle for affordable travel. But with the internet, the gap and the distance becomes closer, especially physical distance and the knowledge gap. So I do have one question for you, Doctor. In your opinion, in what ways can the citizens, the people of these OIC member states, can improve to bridge the knowledge gap using the internet to improve halal tourism in their countries?
Okay, thank you very much for this important question. And I think, as you said, the students could play an important role, especially while we are living in the digital IT, let's say, times. Especially you can do a lot, first of all, to get knowledge from different internet sources, such as from social media and also from reaching out the online books and magazines about the potentials and the beauties of different OIC countries. First, you can get knowledge through these channels. It is free of charge, and you can get a lot of detailed information based on your interests, such as if you are interested in architecture or if you are interested in tombs or mosques, you can get a lot of detailed information through using the internet and social media. And also, you can do the same. You can share your knowledge and experience in your local city or country. You can share posts and you can, let's say, post blogs about the beauties of your city or your experience in your country. Because the issue is that we are all Muslims, but we have a lot of some local understanding of different types of practicing our religion. And it is in fact not something negative or bad. It is really beauty. And a lot of people in different countries, in Islamic countries, are interested in these beauties to know about more details, such as how is the experience of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur having a Ramadan, for instance. I'm very much interested in knowing about this. And I have never experienced Ramadan in Malaysia, for instance, as a Turkish student. So therefore, a lot of people around me also asking me the same question. So therefore, if you have a blog or some, let's say, information note on this as a citizen or as an institution, we can visit this page and get some detailed insights. And it is really good that the available IT technologies making this free of charge and enabling and directly from the source. So you cannot just listen from the authors of the book, but also as a citizen, you can share your experience and knowledge with me directly through the social media. This is the beauty of the IT technologies, I think. So this is also one way of sharing knowledge and experience through the collaboration of the involvement of the citizens. So this is very important. And in this picture also, I would like to emphasize the role of non-governmental organizations, NGOs. NGOs also could play an important role, and therefore they can also bridge the gap between the public and private institutions and also will be the voice of citizens as well in this picture. So this is just my reflection on this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor, for that interesting answer. That's true that inshallah, with the internet, we can bridge the gap, the physical gap, the knowledge gap that we have among OIC member states. All right, since Dr. Tintin will need to attend another meeting at 12 p.m. So we will open a question and answer session for all panelists to ask Dr. Tintin regarding this topic. So please type your questions in the chat box or turn on your microphone to ask your questions.
Can I ask a question? Okay.
Yes, yes,
my question is actually to our honorable in charge for the Islamic Tourism Center. Is she around?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Actually, today attending this conference, it's a very wonderful experience for me. What our Tansri said, it actually makes true sense. That means we cannot just think about when we talk about halal tourism, about money making, because as he said, that means in Bhutan, they have limit the influx just to control the carbon print. So that is a lesson actually for in terms of Islamic tourism. Means it's not the money, but we have to think about akhirah, and we have to price it in such a way that is actually accommodative to all. And number three, I was just thinking that instead of existing hoteliers and others to promote, we need to have a idea how to promote so that through this maybe SME can come out with better halal tourism idea and how to promote, because a lot of this information is what our last speaker shared, or the ITC author shared, is that we in the public domain is not, we don't know. So I think we need more awareness, more marketing about it, so that people know what is the benefit in staying in a halal hotel or halal tourism. Thank you so much. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. I'm sorry, Doctor, could you state your question? What was that, a question or just a comment?
Actually, I did raise few questions, but and comments as well. It's for both the second and third speaker. Thank you.
Okay, perhaps I could address the comments and the question. Yeah, it's true that the focus should not solely be on money making, as you said, Doctor, and as what Tan Sri mentioned this morning. But the current situation is that people are in business for the money. So that is where the point of entry for us to attract business owners to look at Muslim-friendly tourism in other aspects. So during our training programs, even though we do talk about the potential in terms of number of arrivals and tourist receipts, but we also emphasize about the importance of sustainability within the business operations. So for example, when we approach hotels to subscribe to our Muslim-friendly accommodation recognition program, one of the guidelines or one of the guidelines that we have in MFAR is that they need to allow for their staff to have that time for prayer, so because we want to make sure that the well-being of the employees are also taken care of within that organization or within that hotel. So these are some of the things that we do emphasize about taking care of, your waste management. So we work with hotels. We'd like to work with hotels that have sustainability practices in place. And you did mention about small and medium enterprises. So at ITC, we do have another training program called ITELS. It stands for Islamic Tourism, Entrepreneurship and Leadership Program. And in that training program, we invite organizations from Islamic banks, from MARA, from other government institutions that have some incentives or some programs where startups and small businesses can take advantage should they wish to pursue a business within the Islamic tourism industry. So these are some of the things that ITC is doing, and inshallah we'll try to improve on these programs and our reach to the audience, to our stakeholders.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anis, on your answer from for the question by Dr. Ashraf just now. I would like to inform that this question and answer session is specifically for Dr. Tintin's and his sharing session just now about intra-OIC tourism. So if other panels would have any questions regarding the sharing session by Dr. Tintin, please switch on your microphone. Thank you. And I do notice that Brother Ahmad Hafizun has a question. Is your question directed to Dr. Tintin or Miss Anis?
Okay. Actually, my questions are for Mr. Dr. Sam Tintin. So, actually, I'm very absolutely I really like about these motions, but actually I do not follow this discussion starting from the first. But I have something questions about a halal certificate because our focus is about a halal. So my questions is in my country, yeah. So at the first time that actually there is a product and many people or say the ulama say that this is not halal, but sometimes because of something I don't know exactly because of what. So step by step, so the product it can be halal. While if we think that based on the Islamic views that actually it is not halal and we know the law, but sometimes step by step, so the product become halal and I don't know exactly it is based on the our governments or I don't know exactly what happens. So my questions is, would you like to give solutions or would you like to give opinions about why does it happen and how to make our what we call community become yeah based on our what we have. I think that it is not halal but it becomes halal because of something. So what will we do related to this what we call conditions? I think enough. So sorry for my questions. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Thank you first of all for the question. I try to understand the question from my perspective, of course, and I'm not an Islamic scholar to explain you how the things or the products can be made halal, but I can just reflect my perspective. For instance, I can give you an example from the tourism sector, because since we are talking about tourism, because in the food sector it is easier to let's say, because there is a physical product that you can examine the ingredients whether they are fully halal or not. But even in the food sector there are some, let's say, different views and perspectives about some chemical ingredients. But when it comes to the tourism sector, since it is a service sector, at the end of the day, it is not that much easy, because you cannot take a tourism service to the laboratory to examine the ingredients whether they are halal or not. So this is the difficulty of halal certification in the services industry, and it goes for the Islamic finance sector as well, because in the banking and financial sector, again, you cannot take a Islamic finance service to the laboratory like in the food sector and to examine it is all ingredients. So this is a difficulty. So that's why we adopt some common principles in Islamic tourism services or halal tourism services, And again, there are different Islamic scholars' views and different kind of understandings about the sensitivities. So therefore, it is not that much easy to say something from the perspective of your country or from my perspective, because there are different practices in different countries. Such as, I can give you one concrete example. According to one understanding in Islamic school of thought, that all the services in Muslim-friendly tourism industry should be in line with Islamic principles, starting from the financial or the investors crediting services, such as if you want to build a hotel, if you go to a bank, it should be also in line with the Islamic principles. So there shouldn't be a riba, for instance, according to this understanding, if you build up a hotel. But in practice, unfortunately, we don't go to that much level, and whether we examine that this building has been built through using riba or not. But according to this school of thought, even you should go and check this if you want to label this hotel as a, let's say, Muslim-friendly tourist hotel. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that this is a question that is not that much easy to answer. And what I'm trying to emphasize is that we are trying to find out the commonalities among the member states in the OIC region, and also try to focus on the common points or common understandings rather than the diversified views and opinions. Otherwise, it is not that much easy to move forward. That is just I want to highlight.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Tintin, for that answer. Does anybody have any other questions for Dr. Tintin? Is there any questions in the chat?
Can I ask one question to this professor?
Sure.
The thing is, he is mentioning something very idealistic in regards to OIC, tourism and things. But as far as commoner as like us, we don't see any activity from OIC or in corporation for last many years. So how successful would be that there will be platform for Islamic tourism from OIC perspective? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. And I think it is also maybe our fault that we couldn't really communicate our activities that we have undertaken over the past few years. But as just I explained, the OIC is the intergovernmental institution, and usually our activities are, let's say, focusing on the public sector and also some of the private sector as well. So maybe people on the street may not see that our activities, but I can say that over the past 5 to 10 years, we have provided training services on Muslim-friendly tourism. For instance, just in this specific domain, maybe more than 500 experts and policymakers in the OIC region, not only in one country. So therefore, we are proud of that. We have trained all these people. Now, in some of these countries, they started the development of their country-level strategies after these training programs and capacity building programs. So therefore, there are so many practical outcomes which is affecting the people, but maybe this is only known by some of the people who are working in the public sector. That's why maybe you have not heard about these some of the outcomes. So this is just I want to say at this point. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Doctor, for that answer. I hope it clarifies your question, Dr. M. Ashraf. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Okay, if there isn't any other question, if there are no more questions, I would like to thank Dr. Sendintin for your compelling answers and your insightful sharing session just now. Now, I would like to invite the next moderator, Brother Ahmad Rahimin for the next session. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
All right. Anyone can hear my voice and can see me clearly? Yes.
Yeah, can be here. Can be.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Farah Suhana, for giving me the opportunity to right now. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm Ahmad Rahimin bin Tazul Azhar from Program of Arabic for International Communication ARCOM, and I will be with all of you right now as your moderator for our final session in this webinar. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for this third session, I would like to welcome Ustad Haji Ishaq Ma Xiaoqi to deliver his sharing about Taiwan experience in developing and promoting Muslim-friendly tourism as representative from Taiwan. Before we invite our Ustad Ishaq to deliver his sharing, it was very impolite to all of us for not knowing about our speaker today. By that, I would like to introduce a bit about Dr. Ustad Ishaq. His name is Ustad Haji Ishaq Ma Xiaoqi, born in 1960 in Kaohsiung City in Taiwan. Regarding about his education background, Ustad Ishaq was a bachelor student in this Department of Sociology in Quirinius University in Libya in 1988. He then continued his studies as graduate student in Department of Ethnology in National Chengchi University in Taiwan from year 2005 until 2010, and complete his advanced Imam training courses from 2013 until 2014 in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Ustad Haji Ishaq Ma Xiaoqi, also that will come today, had an exceptional experience in his work as he was held a specialist position in Chinese Muslim Association for 13 years from 1993 until 2006. From 2012 until 2018, he was also a director of Muslim affairs in travel agent for 6 years. Currently, he is holding the chairman position in International Muslim Tourism Industry Development Association and General Consultant Taiwan in Heart Halal Certification Authority from 2017. I think we have done with the introduction of our third speaker, and by that, I would like to welcome Ustaz Ishaq Ma Xiaoqi in our session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, ya Ustaz. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you
Ni
very
hao ma
much.
Ustaz. How are
Ni
you
hao,
today?
谢谢.
All right,
Alhamdulillah.
Ustaz. We are so glad that you can be here today to share your insightful thoughts and sharing regarding this topic, which is Taiwan experience in developing and promoting Muslim-friendly tourism. But before that, I would like to remind to all the audience, if you have any question, just type it down in the chat box and don't forget to address the question towards which one of the speakers that you want your question to be answered. All right, Ustaz, Jumbe ulama.
Oh, inshallah, beginning. Bismillah.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Falyatafaddal mashkura. The floor is now yours.
Okay, 谢谢啊, terima kasih. So I first, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. على جميع إخواني وأخواتي في الله. I want to salam to brothers and sisters in Islam. I want to say congratulations to IUM 40th anniversary and KLM 10th anniversary. I hope both of them working hard and increasing and successful progress a lot in the future, inshallah. I want to thank all of you invite me to this nice event to share my experience halal and Muslim-friendly tourism in Taiwan. That received good reviews, alhamdulillah, but we have to keep going and need all of you to support and your encourage. And in the future, we can cooperation deeply. In Taiwan, we need learning from Malaysia and Islamic country. So now let me share my PPT, this one. So you can see. Okay. Sorry, so I begin in. Okay, yes. If any wrong, please give me a suggestion. So today, I will share you my Muslim tour, halal, and the Muslim friendly tourism in Taiwan. So, first of all, قال الله تعالى يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. So Muslim and non-Muslim, Islamic religion and non-Islamic religions, all by Allah. So we have need to respect each other, especially in Taiwan is non-Muslim country. So now I will share you Muslim in Taiwan. So Muslim in Taiwan now the population is 0.7, around the 32,000 in Taiwan. So 320,000. So majority is Indonesia Muslim in Taiwan. So our local Muslim are around 50,000 local Muslim, but other is a foreign Muslim. And our big organization is the Chinese Muslim Association in Taipei. And we have 10 mosques like this picture, Taiwan picture. This point, red point is means location, our mosque in Taiwan, 10. And in this 10, inside have 4 masjid is belong the Indonesia Muslim speaker, khutbah, majority is Indonesia workers, they are played in this 4 masjid. And we also have, now I just tell you about religions in Taiwan. We have 27 kinds of religion, so many religion in Taiwan. The Muslim is one of them. Also, alhamdulillah, Allah yahdina wa yahdihim inshallah. The Buddhist is the number 1, is folk belief is 44%, and Buddhist 21, and the Christian is 5, and other religion 29. Our population is 23 million. In our language is Mandarin, Chinese, and Hokkien language, and Hakka
and in the indigenous language and new resistance language like Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Indonesia language. This one is a new language at this moment. So our geography is beside China and South Korea and North Philippines. Our land is 36,000 kilometers. We have 86 islands. It's many islands, but Taiwan is this big island. Our history is before is Dutch and Qing and the Ming Dynasty and Qing Dynasty, and also under the Japanese rule, and now is a democratic Chinese democratic. And our culture is minority culture, So the society value is democracy and safety and comfortable and relaxed. And our society is discrimination, very respect religions and respect our Muslim. Yeah, alhamdulillah. So our masjid is like this one, 10 masjid. So it's the biggest one, is the oldest one is Taipei Grand Mosque. So majority travelers foreign to Taipei must in this mosque. So Juma we have thousand prayer in the Taipei Grand Mosque. Yeah, and our Muslims majority is Sunni, Ahl Sunnah Hanafi and Ahl Hanifa. And this picture is about introduce the certification authority in Taiwan. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 4 organization is issue the Muslim friendly certification in Taiwan. So IMTIDA is one of belong I control, and Chinese Muslim Association also they have issued the Halal logo and the Muslim friendly hotel and the logo. So why Halal is important for me, especially in this moment and in the Taiwan, because Taiwan is not Muslim country, and also is misunderstanding the Muslim, understanding the Islam. But we try to use the Halal, this special Halal, and like a bridge, become a dialogue. So I take this Halal to know what is Halal, and how we take this Halal to promote Halal in Taiwan. And also, so I say the Halal is not only food, Halal food, but the Halal is life. Halal is true, Halal is kindly, Halal is beautiful. Halal is building the society, is love society and respect each other. So here is Allah say, Ya ayuhan nas kulu ma fil ardi halala tayyiban. So halal and tayyiban is mean in China is qingzhen. Qing is very clean, not dirty. So people he loved the clean in Taiwan. So they love the clean. So we say the qing is cleaning, and the zhen is truly. Zhen is truly, rarely, not fast. Yeah. So in Taiwan, majority people they love the qingzhen life. So I say qingzhen life is Islamic life. Same your idea. So this is our chance to promote Halal. And for the government also, they are very, very concerned about the Halal marketing and Muslim friendly tourism marketing. So the governor, like the tourism bureau governor, former director, they are working very hard to promote halal and the Muslim tourism in environment in Taiwan. So this picture is like the director and the non-Muslim. They are non-Muslim. Only me is inside. Only me is Muslim. So I take this opportunity to explain to Dawah to him. Not only halal is important, the food is important, but the halal means the cleaning life. So also the Malaysia Makma, MACMA, Makma. This is a Chinese Muslim Malaysia organization. President Professor Taufik Yap. They also come to their group come to Taiwan to know the Muslim friendly environment, and also the director Taiwan Tourism Bureau Director Mr. Zhang Mingchong. Yes, they are also the receive the very hard receive in the Muslim friendly the hotel restaurant. So they are very nice. True, the mean is the government very concerned about the Muslim the tourism. Yeah, and also the city mayor, the former vice city mayor Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung is the second big city in Taiwan. So also the mayor also very he say the halal is definitely good food in and this place in the very big night market, Liuhe night market in Kaohsiung. So they are promote. And Taiwan is already so a Muslim traveler from the airport, airplane, and to the ground service. Like it is also in Taiwan. So China Airlines serve the halal box, and also the airport have you can get the souvenir, halal souvenir food, and beef noodle and tumbling. Yeah, you can get it in the Taipei airport. Yeah, you can get, and also the airport inside have a Muslim prayer room and wuzu also you can get. So this is also easy can find the Muslim environment friendly. Like we have a 13 national scenic area. This is under the government. So all of these 13 the area that you can find the Muslim industry, like restaurant, halal restaurant, Muslim friendly restaurant, about 300, and Muslim friendly hotel we have 200 and more. So and Muslim prayer room we have 250, and also that you can get some college and hospital you can find all in Taiwan. In Taiwan. So very comfortable now. So my association MTDA, we go to negotiate with the businessman industry. So we talk to him how to settle the wash rate and settle the information Muslim information center in the shop. So you can get that. Before they are starting to know the Muslim, who is Muslim, why the halal, why what wash rate, they didn't know. So we through this one to know what's Muslim life, what's the Muslim life. So and also the ablution in the hotel and Qibla and timetable. So you can get a homestay. You can get a homestay, the kitchen. So we also teach him how to prepare the prepare the cookerware or the tableware, yeah, and the menu to receive the Muslim. Yes, and this picture is especially in the outside the Taiwan island, in Penghu Island, and Dr. Dean Faisal, Dr. Faisal in IUM in Heart, and Dr. Shakirin also in the in Heart. They are teaching in Heart, so we are inviting him to Taiwan to audit and to teach. So this one, they are Dr. Dean and Dr. Shakirin. They cook Malaysia food to serve the homestay. So they are the halal table to can each to eat under each other. So not a Muslim making Muslim friendly with non-Muslim family through the halal table. And also we training our industry how to construction the MFE, Muslim friendly environment. So and all the want to master ready the mat, sijada, and cookerware and food. Yes, and you can get that this picture is a hospital in Taiwan. In Taiwan, many hospitals they have the Muslim prayer room in the hospital. They are set in the Salah Musalla. Yeah, before is you can get the Musalla in the hospital, in the university. Now it's many. Like here is we setting Qibla in the Musalla room in the university. Like this picture in the Genji University is very famous university because many students come from Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Arabic. So they also Indonesia's university give him the Qibla and room, specially room, and also museum. This museum is a very big, famous under the government. Is the south branch of the NPM, in the National Plaza Museum. Yeah, the inside the museum they set in the Qibla and Musalla and the wudu room. Yeah. We also set in the halal center, halal food product center. You can get halal food souvenir easy. So in like this factory, tourism factory, many foods they get halal certification. And this one is our checklist, like kitchenware must follow this one, follow this term. And the purchase department, any restaurant or hotel, they want to Muslim friendly. They must, if they want to serve the food, must follow this list. And this is for product. This is for product halal food. Inspecting the project must follow this. Okay. And here is you can get the Taiwan National Kaohsiung University of Hospitality and Tourism is in Kaohsiung City. This is #1 university. They are very focused on the tourism, the university. So IUM in Heart, Dr. Hamza and the Shakirin to teach in the teacher, the university. How to promote, how to teach the students about the halal food and tourism, Muslim tourism. Yeah, and here, so Dr. IUM in Heart, their logo, Taiwan in Heart logo. So this logo, especially for the factory. So they are come to Taiwan, like Dr. Hamza and Aiza. The Aiza and Dr. and Shorwen, they are before come to Taiwan to teach the factory and how to get halal food from the Taiwan in Heart logo. And this one also the picture, the audit, auditor IUM in Heart in Taiwan. Yeah, like Dr. Sharwin and Aiza, they are talking to the Taiwanese. Why is halal? Why halal? Why is Muslim? Who is Muslim? Why is Islam is a religion? Yeah, to understand. And this for me, I read some book about halal the information book to share with non-Muslim industry. Yeah. Okay. Also, I invite him like a tour guide, Taiwan tour guide, to visit the mosque and how to visit mosque and understand the halal and the Muslim culture. From high school to university, and also the tour guide. And we put some something like a Muslim the culture, values, something to exhibition, right? And also this one, so we take this chance to educate the tour guide and to teach the non-Muslim. So the hadith qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ad-dalu ala khair kafa'ilihi. So we like a dalil, we like a tour, Muslim tour. We give the non-Muslim the way to understand the Islam. Halal. This is a good deal. So who guides people to do good deeds? Deeds. Who send deeds? This one is my purpose here. And so we give the after finish course 30-hour course about the Muslim, about the halal, about the Muslim friendly. So I give in the 30-hour class. Finally, I give him the examination, halal and Muslim culture examination, and this. And finally, they award and the certification. They are very happy. They're learning the 30-hour about the Islam, and we have to pay attention to construct the halal life and the Muslim-friendly environment into whole the world, especially in non-Muslim country. So Taiwan is a non-Muslim country. Also, Taiwan is Muslim, is a minority. So we have to do more to give the Muslim they are come to Taiwan eating halal food easy, and also our lives not dunya, so our lives also in the akhirah. So we have to do in a good deed for our akhirah. So. And we through the halal and Muslim tour, and this way this way is to pleasure of Allah. So qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ayuhan nas innallaha tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Ayuhan nas innallaha tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Wa innallaha amara al-mu'minin bima amara bihi al-mursalin. Faqala ya ayuhan ar-rusul قل من طيبات وعمل صالحا إني بما تعملون عليم. So كل أكل طيبات ضروري والواجب والفريضة والعمل صالح واجب. So the halal is very important. He is basic. Is we are eating no halal. Our amal, our working is batin. So we have to very concerned our food. So the food is halal. So we have to promote halal. The halal is halal is a good thing, good deal. So we choose this opportunity. So our job is our niyyah, our job is to share what is halal to non-Muslim. And this one is when I go to the Malaysia, the ITC, this stuff. And so we have to cooperation. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. وقال الله تعالى تعاونوا على البر والتقوى. So especially in Taiwan, we need Malaysia, we need Muslim country to support. We need to learn from Muslim country. Taiwan is not a Muslim country. We have struggle. We have many jihad, makan jihad, and salat jihad, because Islam in Taiwan jihad. So jihad means not by force, jihad by our mouth, by jihad by our good deed, respect and each other. So we do our heart to construction the musalla in anywhere in Taiwan, and also the food, and also the hotel, Qibla and Sijada, and also the food company, tourism company, food tourism company for our Muslim to come. Yeah. And Taiwan halal and Muslim tourism is okay, but our is the we keep going, and also we don't stop in Taiwan. Inshallah, if you need more information, please contact TTB in KL. TTB is for government, like the Taiwan Tourism Bureau KL office. And there are many information. If you have group from IUM, from the Muslim Association Malaysia, you can through this TTB in KL. So visit to Taiwan, and we can go to Taiwan to look for the Taiwan Muslim friendly environment. So you can go to this office. They will support you, maybe some ticket, or maybe some few days, and free charge. Yeah. And finally, so assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. آخر دعوانا أسأل الله اللهم اجعل حبنا لك كله وسعينا كله في مرضاتك في مرضات الله يعني، وجعلنا مسلمين ونسألك ربنا أعطينا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. 谢谢 terima kasih.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ustaz Ishaq for his very wonderful sharing about Taiwan experience in developing and promoting Muslim friendly tourism. And Ustaz, I just heard that IMTIDA, which is International Muslim Tourism Industry Development Association, as known as IMTIDA, was responsible to giving an exposure and explanation to non-Muslim and also the Muslims themselves about the Muslim-friendly environment and halal terms in the tourism industry. But I see that this association is really helpful to give the proper exposure towards especially the non-Muslim about our Muslim lifestyle and terms, which is the halal, which is the most crucial thing when it comes to our life, our food, and also regarding to the tourism. But as a student myself, and also maybe the majority of the audience in this webinar, I want to ask if there any proper exposure that we can come up with to give the exposure of halal terms towards our non-Muslim friend in all around the world, maybe in Malaysia or Indonesia or any other countries that we live in.
Sorry, your means how to inspect our audit our halal term, right?
Yes.
Okay. The halal term we learn in we follow the Sharia first, and second we not many experience in our country. Because we began in halal certified in 1993. This is one is a factory. They want to the halal logo. They want to sell to Malaysia. So he come to my office, CMA, Chinese Muslim Association. So at that time we began in the halal working in Taiwan, and until we got from Jakim body is in 2005. We got the Jakim member, and then we got the Jakim member. So after, but this one is focus on the factory, only factory. Factory is make a container to ship to the outside, but inside in Taiwan cannot eat. We can difficult to find the halal product food in the market because this all the ship to the Malaysia or to other countries, and until the 2017, we know the IUM in-heart Professor Hamza and Jacqueline and Aiza and Sharwin. We have cooperation. We have cooperation. So we from at that time we focus on the Muslim friendly factory and the hotel also. So we follow the IUM in heart the checklist like this one. I can share you like this one. So we audit the project like this one is for the makan, for the restaurant, hotel. So we have a Muslim specialist storage box and Muslim menu. And the kitchen master self-management sanitation. They have master sanitation, and also the keep area, the halal food must keep separate. Must keep, and also the cooking ware must for only for Muslim, and the tableware must for Muslim, not give the non-Muslim. If the Muslim guests come, traveler come, you use this machine and use this ware to cook for him, and also cannot contamination, avoid mass contamination, and keep the kitchen sanitation, and also the education in the restaurant and our factory must learn halal food course. So the halal meat when can get, we have halal meat list. Halal meat like a beef, chicken, our name. This some from the Australia, from the New Zealand, from the Paraguay, and some the chicken is a local slaughter, dark local slaughter, yeah. And slaughter must Muslim, and Muslim in Taiwan is not too much. So the factory slaughter, they are invite and Indonesia Muslim or Thailand Muslim young to the slaughter, to the they are the Muslim slaughter the must be. So about this meat, we have list, and this also for the product, food product, halal food product. So we are checking the halal raw material, our additive ingredient. They have a master check, and also the halal or vegetarian seasoning without alcohol and without alcohol. Yeah, and the halal storage and also the specially line without the crossing, without the cross contamination, and all the. And so we check this is a purchasing department, producing department, sanitation department, or administration department. These 4 departments in the factory, we have to teach him about the rule, halal rule. Yeah, and also the halal and Muslim culture also, not the halal, but so we talk him about why is Muslim, why is Islam, why we know worship the idol, why we know eat pork, why we know we didn't eat non-bismillah meat. So they don't understand. They don't understand about this rule. So we through this opportunity, we make a dawah to him, and also we take the money from him. It's very low, not too much, because we support him and to increasing the cost, because we are concerned about the dawah, the spread, to use the halal. Yeah. And so this our the rule we learning from Malaysia, and we very thank you to the IUM in heart. They come to Taiwan to teach our Muslim. Yes, very thank you, very thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for this answer. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ustaz, for the answer. All right. I was attracted with the list that we have to obey and convey when we implemented the halal industry for halal industry in our lifestyle and also tourism industry. And I have another one simple question, Ustaz, because I heard that you share about the Muslim community in Taiwan is every day facing the jihad, because the Muslim in Taiwan facing a lot more struggles with halal lifestyle in Taiwan compared to the other Muslim majority country like Malaysia and Indonesia themselves. For the question, how can we as a student want to persuade ourselves to convey the halal term throughout the community, like among the non-Muslim friends, persuade them?
In Malaysia, society is a majority Muslim, about 62%.
Yes.
Other is non-Muslim, right? Chinese, Hindu, and other non-Muslim. So we through the Islam allow order and urge us Muslim must to respect other religion, right? And also so we can take this halal food eating makan this to some drink to share to the non-Muslim. Yeah, in Malaysia very easy to get the halal, but halal is our inside just halal is inside our Muslim youth. But how we have to share the halal to him, to a non-Muslim. So we invite him to makan, to my house, our makan to our university, our makan to any restaurant, and we just through the eating makan and this reason, so we can easily to make a friendship first. So halal is friendship. Halal is a way to non-Muslim to understand the Muslim and to understand our Islam, to understand the Allah. So halal is easy because halal is on the table, and the table makan is easy to talk, to make a friendship. Yeah, and so in Taiwan is a non-Muslim country. The halal restaurant is very later, very sadly. Yeah, and the Muslim friendly is non-Muslim restaurant. Halal Muslim friendly restaurant is owned by non-Muslim, but they are want to make this the food for the Muslim. So we have to support him. We have to support him to make halal food, because through the halal food he know, oh, I want to respect the Muslim. I want to make a food for Muslim. They don't eat more pork, and they don't eat no bismillah halal meat, and they don't eat alcohol. So they have to 5 times for salat. They have one toilet. We have one shower, wash late. So they want to do this one. So we have to support him because they are non-Muslim. This one's our duty. Our duty is to make for Muslim very comfortable. But there is non-Muslim make for Muslim. So this one is a very good job. I think the very good deed. The Amal Hasana, Amal Salihah. So in Taiwan, we have struggled to explain to him, persuade a non-Muslim to accept halal. Very difficult. And so also very difficult to they accept Islam, to worship Allah, to pray to Allah. It's very difficult because in Taiwan, like China, they have religion, Chinese religion, very deeply. Very stupid. So how to we closing the non-Muslim? We closing non-Muslim by halal. Is we closing by non-Muslim by the dawah? Sometimes they expect they don't want to listen to you. So we are in Taiwan. I just know I invite him to halal restaurant to talk and to eat. What is meat is okay or no? The restaurant is cleaning, and meat is truly not any fault. Not so. Our Muslim life is a cleaning. Muslim life is very. So in Taiwan, it's very difficult. If the Malaysia, Indonesia very like Jannah. We say that halal food in Malaysia is Jannah. We are here is very difficult. But the difficult, no problem. Difficult, we have to our shoulder must keep still in the growing up. Sometimes after day. Taiwan is normally is many halal food. Normally, Muslim come to Taiwan. They slowly, the very slowly, the comfortable for our local Muslim and comfortable for the outside Muslim. So this is a very nice job. Nice, the good deal. Yeah, good deeds. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
All right, Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Ustaz Ishaq for the answer. And And by the answer that by the question that already answered by Ustaz Ishaq, and by now I will end up my role as the moderator for this session. And by that, I will return the role of the floor to our MC today, Sister Fatin. فليتفضل مشكورا.
Thank you to the moderator, Ahmad Raimi. And then thank you for all the speakers for the insightful sharings for today's webinar. So hopefully what is shared today can be a way for all of us to develop not just the industry, also to improve ourselves to become a better Muslim in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, a gentle reminder for all, we hope that all of the participants could fill in the evaluation form of our webinar today. Now, we will open for Q&A session for all the panel. You may type your question in the chat box, or you may unmute yourself at the end of the session and ask your question. Okay. First question is from Miss Rafika Farid. In the YouTube, in the live session in YouTube, she have a. We're waiting for Ustaz Ishaq. Sorry. Right. Sorry, Ustaz. So for the first question, Miss Rafika Farid would like to ask Ustaz Ishaq Mahashauti. She has a question regarding on how Taiwan attracts non-Muslim market to experience the Muslim-friendly tourism.
Oh, the marketing, the Muslim-friendly marketing of halal food or halal product marketing in Taiwan. Majority is halal products is factory. They export to the world, and now they are concerned, the industry businessmen concerned about the locally Muslim friendly product. They sell traveler. The majority is a traveler, Muslim traveler come to Taiwan, so they need a hotel, homestay, souvenir, and also the like salat, musalla, wuzu. Yeah. So this one is a increase. And also the government support and the industry, businessmen, the money also. if you open a Muslim friendly restaurant, okay, government will be support you a little money. Like you have to settle the wash rate, you have to buy the cooker well, right? Or you have to buy some dish. Okay, this one the government will support you few money. Okay, so many in Taiwan, many the place we can find the Muslim friendly environment, the business. Okay, so now it's an increase, but we are also our competitiveness is Japan, Korea, and Hong Kong, because they are also very easily to get the food, halal food, and also easily to get a Muslim friendly restaurant, easy, and also very nice, beautiful country. So our business competition with Japan is we have to jihad 说呀 we have to do more we have to do more hard, yeah, at future. But then the business is still increase, is still very nice, inshallah. And we need Malaysia come to Taiwan, yeah. Like IUM come to Taiwan, student come to Taiwan, yeah, to look or to give me some suggestion, yeah, because Taiwan is a non-Muslim country. Many restaurants, the boss is non-Muslim. the restaurant boss is not Muslim. So how do we give the license the Muslim friendly restaurant? If license, if the standard is master boss master Muslim, our cooker master Muslim, so in Taiwan we can find any Muslim friendly restaurant. If the term must be shurut, shurut must be Muslim open owner, master cooker owner. The factory must two Muslim. So this term is very difficult because Muslim, local Muslim not too much. Local Muslim not too much. Yeah. So this one we have to different how to make. Yeah. So marketing is inshallah will be good. Yeah. But we need the foreign, the outside Muslim, foreign Muslim come to Taiwan. Yeah. International Muslim come to Taiwan. Yeah. 谢谢.
Alright, inshallah that we'll have time to, opportunity to go and visit Taiwan.
Yeah,
so thank you for your answer. We have another question from you. By Muhammad Shafiq in the chat box. He asked, how do we sure that the logo is sustainable? Because in reality, company or restaurant only obey to the restriction only when to get certification, to get certificated. Do we have done regular enforcement activity suddenly without notice given?
Each logo or each term we have 1 year or 2 years for the license, the license. And also the secondly, we have sign must follow the checklist. Before I show you in my slide, we have a restaurant. They must keep the shurut. We have list to him. They must sign it. They have to sign this, follow this rule to sign. And also we have to call by telephone because our office is not too much people, staff. The staff not too much people. So our to the factory or to restaurant very far. So sometimes like this we just by phone by checklist. They have must by checklist. If something wrong, we have to take out. We take the license. We take off the license. Yeah. And the list. If we give the list, if we give the license, his name, his company name will register under the government. Under the government. Yeah, under the government. If they have wrong, I will talk to the government to delete his company name. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Hopefully that, with the help of the government and the enforcers, halal tourism would be much better in Taiwan. All right. We have another question also for you by Dr. Ashraf. Would you like to switch on your microphone for that, Doctor?
Yes, actually my question was, I'm very happy to listen from our Taiwan counterpart, but actually I had a question for Sister Anis from ITC, but she left. Actually, what is a lesson that we learned during the World Cup from Qatar means soft power of Islam. Means we may not need to antagonize that bifurcate Muslim, non-Muslim, but within the environment, convey the message of Islam. That's what they did. They did differently. A lot of conversions happened during the World Cup. Though it was World Cup, but it was a very, very Islamic event. And it was a very, very successful event. Through World Cup, they have shown what Islam is. I think we need to learn. Maybe Taiwan can learn, Malaysia can learn, and we all Muslims can learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Dr. Man, do you have any input on that? On learning from Qatar to create world level programs and events and at the end of the day can still attract people to be in Islam.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
Sorry, you are not audible just now. I think now you are.
Hello. Yeah. Assalamualaikum. You can? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The question before I didn't hear. The question is how we can learn from Qatar. How I am saying that we have to learn each country from Qatar, from Malaysia. It's because Malaysia, Indonesia very close in. So Malaysia very also the minority country, minority culture. They have Malaysia. They have Chinese. They have a Chinese Muslim also. So and language is easily to understand it. And so we have to promote our experience, to promote our method, how to do our method, halal Muslim friendly method. We have to learn the ITC, like ITC, the ITC. We have to learn it. This is our basically struggle and jihad fi sabilillah. Yeah. So we thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Ashraf, thank you. They are encouraging the Taiwan Muslim, because Taiwan Muslim not too much. We learn in the Muslim culture. We learn in the Islamic iman from masjid. We don't have any madrasa, university, Islamic university in Taiwan. So very difficult to learning the Islamic culture in Islamic religion, Sharia in Taiwan. So we have many struggle, many kind of working. So the Muslim friendly is one of my job. Our job, although is for Muslim, like for masjid teaching. Yeah, masjid teaching. And for non-Muslim, we have to make a friendship with him. We keep the friendship, and the friendship with the non-Muslim. We also we keep the time with the Muslim. Yeah. So our job is many. We have to working to do. Yeah, working to do. Yeah. So thank you. Make dua for Taiwan. When you see them in Taiwan, we say them Umrah tour, Haji tour. In Taiwan, Umrah tour very sadly. Yeah. And in Malaysia, many travel agent make a Umrah tour. So yeah. So in Taiwan, the Umrah tour is very not too much, because not too much Muslim. Yeah. So we have to learn, go to Malaysia, to Ishana, to take a course from Malaysia. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And,
thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the answer. I hope that answer the question. Answer that question by Dr. Ashraf just now. Okay. Let me ask around for the panel if you have any other questions to ask, Dr. Ustaz Mar.
Thank you.
If there are no questions, I would like to pass back to the MC for today.
Yes, terima kasih. 谢谢 syukran jazilan. Sedang wabil taufiq.
Sama-sama Ustaz. Afwan.
Thank you, Ustaz, for the sharing. So the last Q&A marks the end of our webinar for today. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank everyone who has attended our webinar today. We hope that you have gained more knowledge and insight about halal and Muslim-friendly industry from all of our speakers. Before we end the session, I hope everyone can turn on your camera for photography session.
Ada tenaga.
Dr. Shakrin, ni hao, ni hao. Syukran. Salam, come Taiwan, huh?
Thank you. See you.
Lai, Taiwan. Taiwan, come.
Coba.
Everybody get ready to 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you everyone for your active participation in this webinar. We close our webinar today with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. Thank you once again and see you soon.
Assalamualaikum Ustaz Ishaq Ma.
Thank you everyone.
Waalaikumsalam, Doktor.
Thank you.
Hamzah,
Thank you,
ni hao,
everyone.
ni hao.
你好，
你好，欢迎，谢谢啊。
谢谢。Hope to see you soon.
Oh, come, welcome. I miss you and Shakrin and Aizan, Sherwin and all the and Hidayah. Yeah. 谢谢。
Inshallah we'll meet soon. Inshallah. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
We need support. Salam. Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallahu khairan. Amin.